Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. If you've been around the channel long enough, you'll know all about my 2021 Ford F-150 PowerBoost. So I had a lot of problems with this truck, and I've kind of said before that I was looking at maybe getting rid of it. Well, I did a thing. I kept coming back to this one truck over and over again, and that is GMC Sierra 1500 AT4. The reason I went diesel is miles per gallon, just kind of wanted to do something different. I bought the PowerBoost here, which is the hybrid F-150 originally, for a few different reasons. Number one, I was really interested in the idea that I could idle the truck with the motor off. So running air conditioning. It is 111 degrees out here in Phoenix. So coming from construction, I spent a lot of time in my truck on job sites just idle. That changed after I bought this truck because I ended up getting a job working from home, and the PowerBoost was no longer really something that I really was necessary. Now, in terms of miles per gallon, the PowerBoost was kind of something I was looking into because of what it could do for fuel efficiency. The problem is I never really got the advertised numbers ever before I even modified the thing, which now it's sitting on a 6-inch lift. So at that point you would expect not to get good gas mileage. But even before I did the lift, I still only got maximum 20 mpg. And with the AT4, with the diesel, I've seen people saying they get up to like 30. So when I was out test driving vehicles today, I was at the GMC dealership, I did test out a 6.2 liter V8, and I almost went that route. But then I remembered that the 6.2 liter does still have to run on premium fuel. So when you start talking about the price of premium fuel compared to diesel, so then the question was, do I go with the diesel or do I go with the 5.3? Well, you can't go 5.3 with the AT4, so I kind of got stuck in this area of either go with the 3.0 Duramax or kind of start downgrading truck. And look, the way that it works with these trucks nowadays is they are so expensive. And I thought about going down the trim line to get into something a little bit cheaper. But by the time you do that, you're still talking like over $500 a month for a truck payment. And if you're going to have that much payment, you might as well get what you want. And that's what I did. So now big shout out to Henry Brown Ford for giving me the opportunity to bring my Ford home, because, well, I have a lot of stuff that I got going on in this truck that I wasn't going to be doing in the parking lot. And they were super cool about, yeah, go ahead, take it home. Bring it back in the next day or so. But it also gives me an opportunity to do a little bit of comparison here. Now, funny thing is, they sent me off, and I was like, do you mind if I take it home now? They were like, yeah, well, it's not going to be detailed, so that's totally fine. I don't need it detailed. We'll go over window sticker stuff probably in another video, but the things that I like about this truck in the cockpit area here is it feels kind of to me like a fighter jet. You got this like console that kind of swoops down. I've always liked that about these new interiors on these GM trucks. The digital displays, I like it much more than the Ford. It looks cleaner. This actually looks a lot more crisp. Very satisfying. It's definitely a nicer display for sure. Now, one thing I almost did here is I actually almost killed my entire family earlier. It's sort of low-key joking. But when I went back to the dealership to get my Ford, I jumped out of the truck, and one thing I was not prepared for is this shifter is very different. So putting the vehicle in drive, it's great. But when I went to the dealership and went to switch seats with my wife, I went to put it in park and just went like a normal shifter into reverse, jumped out of the truck, and it started rolling backwards. So hitting the button to go into park is a learning curve that arguably could be kind of a dangerous learning curve. My Ford with the shifter, which is still rather traditional, if you were to put the vehicle in reverse and open the door, it would still go into park. This does not do that, and not a huge fan of that. So it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. The parking brake automatically is enabling. In the driveway here, my driveway is at a slant. My Ford never did that. Drove me insane Always thought that it should. I love even just like Apple CarPlay on this display as I'm looking at this now. The black background blends in with the black screen here, so it looks way nicer than it did on the Ford. The Ford still had some kind of like washed out colors. What I don't like is that you can't make this full screen. I've got this stupid clock here, which, whatever, that's a minor nitpick. But otherwise, everything in this interior is so much better, except for the seats. These seats are way harder than the Ford. Don't love them. We'll see how they are on long road trips. I'm going to do an MPG loop here very soon, and that I will share. It's like 100 miles of driving, and I'll get a much better feel on how these seats feel. But this is really just a quick unveil. I've got to get everything switched over. It's going to take me a long time just to get everything out of the old truck. There's a lot there. And then we'll start a new build series on this thing. So drop in the comments down below. What do you guys think I should do with this truck? Really excited to have this Duramax diesel. It's going to be fun. I will say I'm very surprised that the diesel noise here is not really objectionable. I really can't barely even tell it's a diesel at all. A few things that drive me nuts about the GMC. I don't like how this just looks unfinished. I wish that they kind of ran that trim down or did something different in this area. That's always kind of bugged me. This is obnoxious. I don't know why they put the mirror on the door when they still have the cutout for the mirror on the window. This has always bothered me, the way that that looks. I don't understand why they did that. You're not solving a problem when you still have this panel here. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That's always bugged me a little bit. This has all grown on me in terms of aesthetic. I think it actually looks great. I don't mind the HDMI ports in the rear, as people like to call them, for the exhausts. I actually think that looks kind of nice. Doesn't bother me at all. This is something I could do without. The split tailgate thing, don't really care for it. I understand it has some value. I'm sure if I'm doing some drone aerial stuff that I'll have a controller up here and use this as kind of a work surface. Maybe get into using it for extended lumber type stuff from Home Depot. But more importantly, what I do fear is the hitch impact, which I'm sure at some point I will probably screw up and bury this tailgate into the hitch. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but just knowing how things work, very possibly going to happen. But the step is nice. We've got this little grab rail here. Ford does that nicer, but not too bad. Definitely lost some outlets for the bed. Losing those outlets from the PowerBoost, that kind of sucks, which they're all buried behind those toolboxes, but I wasn't using them all that much anyways, so kind of unnecessary. Back seats, big fan. I love how they do these little storage compartments. Can't get a ton in here, but pretty smart use of space back there. And you know, overall, pretty nice spot to be. My daughter likes it. That's all that matters. She'll be the one back there all the time. Let's take a look underneath the engine compartment. Never even opened it. Diesel. So with that being said, just wanted to make an intro of the new truck on the channel here, and you will see much more content. Let me know in the comments down below, what are some things you would like to see me do with this truck. It's kind of, right now, not a whole lot of plans. This was sort of something I've been looking at for a while, and today the numbers just worked. So, bought a truck today. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. If you want to see more content on the new truck, again, please hit that subscribe button. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Get to work. On my final drive here of the 2021 Ford F-150. Tanner, thanks for the help. Going to drop this thing off. Just wanted to record this as I'm in it, because there are some things I want to make sure I acknowledge with the Ford that I will miss. Number one, the seats in this thing, super comfortable. I'll very much miss the comfort of this overall interior, and also the steering wheel. It's a nice, big, chunky steering wheel. It feels bigger to me than the GMC I like it a lot. You guys might be hearing a lot of air conditioning noise. It's 110 degrees outside right now, so I'm gonna have to deal with it. Things that I won't really miss, don't care about the sunroof so much. It was kind of nice, but also at the same time, I think when it's this hot outside, the thermal efficiency of a giant piece of glass over top of your head is not ideal. So I'm actually happy to get rid of the sunroof. I very rarely use it, so I'll miss it like once or twice a year maybe. The work surface, I will absolutely miss the work surface. It's a great thing for stopping and getting a quick bite to eat, or having the laptop. I've done quite a bit of work off of that work surface. It's pretty great. But other than that, you know, the Ford, from the day I got it, it's been nothing but problems. But even this seat back here, the little armrest that comes down, is like, it's crooked. A lot of the finish stuff, while it looks great at first glance, I just feel like there's a lot of things in here that just don't feel as nice as the GMC. It's still great, but I just feel like the GMC's a little better put together, at least at first feel. I'll also miss the sunglass holder that I have. I do not have that in the new GMC. And just all of the work that I put into this thing. I mean, just the switch panel, huge amount of work went into that wiring. Gonna have to restart with a lot of that stuff, but look, at the end of the day, a lot of the issues that I was having, I feel like I just could never enjoy this truck anymore. After having the transmission replaced at 35-ish thousand miles, and all the other breakdowns that I've had, every little thing that happens with this truck, any weird noise or vibration, it's like, oh, here we go again, and I'm over it. So even this morning, as I fired this thing up before I headed over to the dealership, as I am now, there's this weird, like, high-pitched noise coming out of the bottom of the truck, and I don't know, just stuff like that where I'm like, I can't with this truck anymore. So luckily for me, the deal worked out okay, where financially it worked out. So a big shout out to Henry Brown GMC. They've been fantastic to work with, so much so that it makes me wonder if something was wrong. Like, it was such an easy transaction. Nothing to do with the YouTube channel, just regular off-the-street guy buying a truck from a dealership, and Joey over there really took care of me. So if you're interested, Joey over at Henry Brown, fantastic to work with, highly recommend him. Again, personal recommendation, not so much a YouTube recommendation. So with that said, guys, this is the last trip in the F-150. I'll miss her a little bit, but kind of not. The technology in this truck was better in theory than it was in practice. I don't know, I just never really a big fan of how Ford was rolling out updates and or not rolling out updates for this system. I was maybe sold a little bit more, thinking that this was going to advance as time went on, and like, it really didn't. There were minor tweaks here and there, but I don't know, it is what it is. I also, by the way, like the dash on the GMC, the digital display, much better than the Ford, but